Hi, God's Own Medicine in PS4 and PS5 nowadays, and Medic Maniac YouTube. So, further to clearing my hard drive to free up space for forthcoming uploads of PES 2021, I put together the rest of my pictures from Elite Dangerous, from my adventures and my exploration and my love of this game. Just the atmosphere, the vibe, the excitement of discovering things, and the ambience of the planets that you land on, everything like that. You know, the sounds of your own ship that you come to love, the blackness of space as you go further out there, and all that conjures in your head to fire your imagination. I've said before that Elite Dangerous fires my imagination like no other game. Absolutely no other game. And that goes all the way back to the wireframe, 1984 sort of graphics of Elite on my Commodore 64 or 85 or whatever it was. And obviously the reading of that novella, The Dark Wheel. Absolutely loved it. Really fired my imagination, like I say, like none before. And throughout the generations of consoles that came and went, I always just wanted to play Elite. That's all I wanted to do. I moved away from where I lived, and I remember going to a second-hand store, and I bought a Commodore 64, and there was a collection of games on tape, because they used to come on cassette tape. And one of the games on that collection was Elite, so I bought it. But unfortunately, the tape was all stuck together, and it was deteriorated beyond, it wasn't fit for purpose. Couldn't repair it. Just, I think it cost 50p or something like that, and it had just gone. So it was very disappointing. And I just hoped that at some point Elite would be made again so I could play it, because it was just the game that I loved above any other. And playing it today, it's like really is, it's everything I ever wanted in a video game, just to be able to have my imagination fired once again by this brilliant concept. It's painful to read the comments on the forums and, under the YouTube in the comments, just by, there are a section of people that really slag Elite off for this or that or the other. And all I can say from my experience of playing it is I just have an absolutely brilliant time with it. I love this game so much. I love the atmosphere. And for me, back in the day on the Commodore 64, the thing that was brilliant about Elite was in my head I could create my stories. And I get exactly the same thing today. I understand that there are quite a few books out there. I've been able to get one more. My copy of The Dark Wheel I left with my brother when I moved out. But I've been able to get one more book, and I've read that. But there's quite a few books that are unattainable because I support physical stores and physical cash and, that type of thing. And I don't do the online bit. So there's books that I can't get, which is a shame because they're brilliant. But one of the things that I've always wanted to do is to write my own stories. I remember when back in the day when I was at school and I was in my final sort of year or years at school, my sister was involved in a very bad car accident because somebody was driving on the wrong side of the road and stuff, and she had to be cut out the car by firemen and stuff. And obviously her life was in jeopardy in that, and I got taken off normal timetable at school, so I was put into upper school lounge, and I remember sitting there, and I had lots of work to catch up on for exams and stuff, and I was unsupervised, and I had to write a story, and I remember writing a story because my head was just filled with imagination from Elite Dangerous. And so I remember staring out the window of upper school as I sat there, thinking about what I was going to be writing. And, do you remember for the players of the original Elite, there used to be a deep space trade ship called the Boa. It was absolutely huge. I'd love to see that ship in Elite Dangerous. I'd love to be able to go out and see this huge behemoth flanked by, its own fighters that it supports, short range fighters that go into its bays and stuff. A huge deep space transport ship, the Boa. And I remember, writing about the cargo bay and all this imagery just sort of flooded into my head as I sort of envisioned the story. And I wrote a story to do with Elite for my exams that time. Yeah. But yeah, Elite, just what a game. And the pictures that you see are I went to, I spoke about it before, and I've got a video on my YouTube channel where I made the journey to Beagle Point. So all these pictures here are pretty much from the journey. I did a little bit more exploration, so that's the early part of the pictures. But I went to Colonia, and I spoke about this before. I went through a few nebulas to Colonia, and then I went to Sagittarius A, so you've seen the Sagittarius A pictures. And I went on through a few more nebulas to the outer arm of the galaxy, through the abyss and all that, to Beagle Point. And then obviously I made the journey back, but being me, I didn't head straight back. I, sort of veered off here and there to have a look at a few nebulas and stuff. And my Crate Phantom that you see in these pictures, I think it did 20, I can't remember its exact jump distance, but I don't believe it was 30. And I just used a bit of jumponium here and there, to get me to, because there was a couple of jumps before Beagle Point that I needed a bit of jumponium for, and I used jumponium on the way back as well through that section. But yeah, I did a couple of planetary landings here and there, not as many as I should do really. I think for my next adventure I'm gonna do a lot more planetary landings. But there was tons of life out there in the galaxy, as you see from these pictures. In the Elite Dangerous galaxy, there was tons of it. I was finding it, lots of it everywhere, really, and all the different colours for the gases and that I spoke about before. In amongst all the asteroids of all the planets and that, it's just a brilliant experience. And I guess games are what we make of them. But what I love about Elite is, that atmosphere and vibe where there's a certain style of games and they give you the story, they give you the narrative, they give you this and that and the other. And Elite just conjures a universe full of possibilities. I think that's one of the criticisms I do see levelled at the game, is there are so many possibilities that go unrealised. but I guess that's what you get with, you know, such an open-ended, limitless possibility project like Elite, you know. And then you'd have to, as developers, you'd have to get, you know, focused bits for your gameplay loop, and each part would have to, you know, be symbiont with the other parts of the program because it's a living, breathing galaxy, as you know, input by players on different platforms, isn't it? So that's a challenge, but what a brilliant game. So, you know, to Frontier and to FDev and to Mr. David Braben himself, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, really, as a games player. You'll never know the joy that you've given me. I love this game. So these are my pictures, and may my journey continue. 07 Commanders.